Alright guys, so we are finally done with our bread run, and I'm so excited to finish this because it's kind of been a lot longer than I anticipated. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is go ahead and start getting my bread ready for the bread run. I would have done this in the kitchen, but it's Saturday, my kids are home. We've got a lot going on today. We've got company coming over later, and so it just wouldn't have worked up there to try and film while doing this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 50-50 mixture in this spray bottle. 50-50 mixture of vinegar and water. So this jug has water in it. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up. I don't need too much. I'm just going to use this to spray the bread with. That'll just help add moisture, but also the vinegar will help draw that new machine smell out so that we don't have that in our food. And it doesn't have to be perfect. So there's my water. This is definitely vinegar. Okay, so now we can get our bread kind of prepared. I went with the cheapest bread I could find. This was at Walmart, and it's 88 cents a loaf. And this is just a cheap dollar spray bottle from Walmart as well, nothing fancy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my bread out on this cookie sheet here and spray it down pretty good. I want it to be, you know, definitely not soggy so it's falling apart, but I do want it to be fairly moist. Tray number 2 done. So this is our 5th and final tray full of the bread. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start our bread run. So I'm gonna hit start. And this is where I need to select the type of pump that I have. So I have a Premier oil pump. And I'm gonna hit save. Okay, so now the chamber's going to cool. It'll wait 15 minutes or it'll hit 32 degrees Fahrenheit, whichever comes first. Okay, so it is done. It is past the 15 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and hit continue here. And now it's freezing. All right, so it's been going for an hour now. There's all the bread. And as you can see in the drum, it is getting a lot of ice on the sides. Seems to be working great. It's at 7 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's cold in there. Okay, just doing another check-in here. Looks like it's been going for just over 2.5 hours. It's at negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's crazy cold. As we look inside, we can see all the different ice crystals forming in there on the sides. The bread still looks pretty much the same, as far as I can tell anyway. All right, so we're coming up on 3 hours total, and it has now hit the drying stage, and it's been in that stage for about 14 minutes now. So I'm not sure how long it'll be in the drying stage, but we're moving along pretty good here. All right, so it's time to do another check-in here. Our bread run has been going for a total of 7 hours and 12 minutes. And it's been in the drying mode for just about 4.5 hours there. So as you can see, the temperature is 132 degrees Fahrenheit. And as you can see, there is a lot of ice on the sides of the drum inside, and even up on top. So the bar is getting more and more filled up here. I don't want to get my finger too close because I don't want to accidentally bump that cancel button. It's pretty sensitive, so I'm just trying to keep my finger away. But as you can see, that mode for drying, it's been going for 4.5 hours, and we're getting closer to the end here. The temperature in this room did get a little bit too warm for a little bit there, and so it gave me a warning that up here on the screen it said that the high temperatures in the room was causing longer times for the drying to take place. So what I did is I opened up our door, which is now back closed again, but I did open up our door there, which leads directly outside, and it cooled the room down pretty quick because it's pretty cold outside. And that helped a lot, and this bar just started like climbing up pretty quick. So the temperature really does have a pretty big impact on that overall running time of the machine. All right, so we're still going strong here. We've been in almost 9 hours exactly, and the drying process has been for 6 hours and 12 minutes. So, but it's getting very close. As you can see the bar, I mean, we've almost got it all the way there. It is 11 o'clock p.m. at night, so I don't know how much longer we're gonna be up, but I would really like to kind of wait it out and see when it gets done here, because I really don't want it to just sit all night. So most likely we'll start a movie and just kind of stay up for the next couple hours and then see where we're at. All right, another update here. It's been going for 10 hours and 40 minutes. Just the drying time, we're almost at 8 hours just for that part of the cycle. It is now 12:45 in the morning. We're just up watching a movie. And we'll see how it's looking when the movie's over. But it's getting so close. I would hate to just go to bed and then have it sit all night. And I know that the freeze dryer will keep it ready for us until we actually open it up and take everything out and officially stop everything. But I just would really love to take care of it tonight if possible. So we'll see. Alright, looks like we are getting super close. It's been 9 hours of drying. Total time of almost 12 hours. And it is now almost 2 o'clock in the morning. Our movie is getting close to being done. We actually started a second one, and the second one is close to being done. I'm trying to wait this out. Luckily I don't have to work in the morning because it's a Saturday night. But we should be completing this soon, I hope. Alright, I guess this is my final check-in before I give up and go to bed. It is now almost 3 in the morning. It is 2:46 a.m. It's been going for 12 hours and 40 minutes. The dry time has been 5 minutes short of 10 hours. I have done my best to stick it out, but I am tired, so I am giving up for tonight, and we'll check it out in the morning. Alright, so the machine is telling me it's done. If you can hear that beeping, that's kind of what it's doing now. It is 6:56 in the morning, and my dog just woke me up to go outside, which she hardly ever does. But we just let her out and this noise was going off. But I'm gonna go ahead and hit more dry time so I can go back to bed and not worry about this right now because I'm still really tired. I'm gonna give it a little more time. I don't want 6 hours, whoops. Let's see. We'll just start with that. I'm sure I'll be up before then. Saying it's hot in here, so I'll open the door here for a minute and then I'm going to go back to bed for now. Okay, so we've got 13 seconds until the drying process is complete. Okay, process complete. So now notice that it asks if you want no defrost, more dry time, or defrost. And then you'll hear that beeping alarm going off and know when it's complete. Let's go ahead and take this bread out. So we're gonna follow the process and the steps that's indicated in the manual here. So now that that time frame is complete and is done, now we can go ahead and finish everything off here. So I'm following the steps in the manual. In the last screen, like when it was like 3 in the morning or 2, I can't remember the exact time. But remember that drying bar was almost to the end. So after that, it does extra dry time, and that's like, it's preset for 2 hours. So at that point, I would have still had 2 hours to wait. So I'm glad I didn't try staying up any longer. When that extra dry time is complete, then this screen appears. On the screen it says open drain valve to vent. If needed, select more dry time. In the manual, it confirms that as well. It'll prompt you to open the drain valve to vent. Before doing so, pull the drain hose out of the bucket and/or check to ensure the bucket is completely empty of water. So if you have the hose in water, when you open that valve, it'll suck all the water into the chamber and it will ruin all of the food that you have just freeze dried. So with my bucket over here to the side, there's no water in there whatsoever, and the hose is kind of floating in there in the air anyways. So that's not a problem for me, but it's going to be something that has to be checked every single cycle that we run. So, all right, so I'm going to go over and turn the valve. So opening the drain valve vents the vacuum and allows air to enter the chamber. Okay, so now the door can be opened, and it says warm trays. The freeze drying process includes warming the trays. Trays will be warm immediately after the batch ends. So that's what those red, orangish panels on the bottom of each shelf does. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and open the door and remove the trays. Kind of excited. Even though it's nothing I can really eat yet, I'm still excited to get this process done. So it was stuck pretty good there, but not too bad with a soft tug. Okay, so here is, so I can feel it's cold, but it's not like freezing cold because that warmer is helping. Easily manageable. And there's my first tray of freeze-dried anything. So excited. So it's kind of cool. Wow. Very, very hard. I'm going to go ahead and just set it down here. And we'll just take some and break it off. Very crunchy. Just kind of falls apart here as I crunch it. So it's very, very dry. I would definitely say the cycle is complete. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take out all of my trays. Okay, so I've got all my trays out. So now we need to do the defrost cycle. So it asks if you want to do no defrost, more dry time. So if they weren't completely dry at this point, like after crumbling it and kind of testing everything, you want to test, like if there's a variety of things on the trays and you want to test each item, right? Mine's all the same. Every tray, it's very crunchy off of all of the trays here. So it's definitely complete. So next would be, we check the material to make sure it's completely dry. And then we would want to immediately package the food to keep oxygen from getting into the food as much as possible. If the material is now completely dry, you will need to select no defrost or defrost. So the no defrost will allow ambient air to melt the ice just kind of over time, but the defrost turns on the heaters in the shelving unit and accelerates the melting ice. And I've got some drainage coming out the front here. I've heard of that happening at times when it's defrosting. So what I'm going to do is prop the front of it up a little bit on a strip of wood. I gotta go have Vance help me find some wood to do that with. But what that will do is kind of tilt it back so that the water runs to the back where the drain is and comes out the tube instead of out the front here. So that's how I'm going to fix that problem. So here I'm going to select defrost. And it says keep drain valve open, remove product from dryer, and close door. Okay, so I'm not going to mess with the drain valve at all. It's already opened. I have removed the bread. And so now I'm going to close the door. Okay. So that is all complete. So now I'm going to hit continue, except I'm not ready to continue yet because I'm going to prop the front of it up real quick. Okay, so I got a board and I just put it up under the front legs of the freeze dryer all the way across the front. Again, that will just tilt it just enough to get the water to run back in the back corner where it needs to be to come out properly instead of leaking out the front. Okay, so now that we have that board in place to help get our freeze dryer tilted back a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. Okay, so now it just says defrosting chamber, keep door closed, and it has a countdown of 2 hours. It also has the option to adjust that time frame, and then it also has the end now button. I'm going to go ahead and just let it do its thing, and I'm good with the whole 2 hours, and I'm just going to go prep some food for my first official run with the freeze dryer. So we'll just let it defrost and we'll come back and check on it when it's done. All right, so we're almost halfway through the 2 hour defrosting time. So I just wanted to come check and see how it's going. But if we look into the bucket here, we can see that there's a fair amount of water in there from the ice defrosting and coming out the tube. Okay, we're at our last few seconds here of the defrosting mode. All right, so our defrost is complete. Select defrost to continue defrost. We don't need to do that. It looks really good inside. All the ice is gone. And we've got a good amount of water in our bucket. So what I ended up doing to help the flow come out a little bit better is I just put a couple of these little containers back there. So they're not very thick and they're just 8-ounce containers. And I put one underneath the valve. If it'll focus here, let me try. Okay, so I put one underneath the valve and then one right next to it just to help with the tubing to kind of gradually make that decline. And then I just brought it around the edge here and down underneath the bucket handle. And then I just secured it there so that it keeps it right where it needs to be. And it doesn't shoot out far enough to worry about going out of the bucket. So it works really good, actually. So this is my system for now. If I need to make any adjustments later, I will. But for the time here, it actually worked really good. All right, so the bread run is complete. I can now go ahead and click done. And it just goes back to the main screen. So then when I'm ready, I can go ahead and push start and start my new load, my first load. And I'm so excited. I am prepping the food in the kitchen for that right now. So join me on that video. I will provide a link once I have that video posted. So this is all the bread that came out from the bread run. I am just going to end up throwing all of this away like is recommended by the company. It's not meant to actually keep and eat or save. And so it's just that cheap bread that I bought. I'm just going to throw it away and move on with freeze drying my food. All right, so now that our bread run is officially complete, we can go ahead and just throw all the bread in the garbage because we don't want to be eating that. And the purpose of it was to help clean out that new machine smell and to test the machine, make sure it's running properly, etc. So we're done with the bread, so I'm going to go ahead and toss it. All right, guys, I hope this video was helpful for you as you go through your bread run with your new machine. I'm so excited for you to get freeze drying too. Good luck to you and your freeze drying. And if you like what you're watching, please make sure you like and subscribe. And thanks for watching. Bye, guys.